Well, good evening. Hello, everyone. It's great to see a full house. We know why many of you are here tonight, so we're going to get started right away. And Madam City Clerk, can we...
Recording in progress.
I'm going to call the meeting to order, and can we do the roll call? And I'm sorry, this is the January 21st, 2025 meeting.
Thank you. Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Ania?
Here.
Tillman?
Here.
Vice Mayor Juan is excused. Mayor Trupiano?
I'm here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. And if everyone will join me now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And tonight, because of our Do the Right Thing certificates, we're going to change the order on the agenda a little bit. So we're going to go directly to item number 5, which is recognitions and presentations, and then we'll come back and do 3 and 4. And Councilmember Tillman, are we ready? Okay. And so our Do the Right Thing program, I forget the year that it was started by former Mayor Hank Stratford. And we had the traits that we're honoring tonight for the months of November and December are kindness. And these are awards given by both our elementary school, Diablo Elementary, and Diablo Middleview School. And our principals and teachers are here tonight, so let's get started. Shall we ask, who would you like to bring first?
Good evening, everybody. I just changed the order, but now I'm thinking I shouldn't have done that. There are a lot of elementary school certificates here.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if maybe we do the 3, well, they're older kids. They can hold on a little bit longer. Let's do the elementary school. We'll start with Mount Diablo Elementary School. Is either Vice Principal Romo here? Okay. Come on up. And I think they want us to go in the middle of the room and use these microphones.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to invite up Callum. Oh, nope, never mind. Just kidding. He doesn't want to go first. Maybe we... Oh, who do you have first? Oh, can we skip?
Yes.
He got nervous. Is Armand here? And then we have Miss Brown coming up. There you go. Okay, perfect. I'm going to pass it over to Miss Brown.
Okay. This is Armand. He's in our 3rd grade classroom at Mount Diablo Elementary School, and Armand is being recognized for the trait of kindness. Armand, you are a shining example of what it means to be kind. You are respectful, you are inclusive, which means you include others, you're helpful, and you're generous, which means you share. Armand makes an effort to demonstrate kindness not only to his friends, but to everyone around him. He always considers other people's feelings. You make our school community a better place for everyone. You are a shining star, Mr. Armand. I'm very proud of you.
Wait. Hold on. You need to hold this. Hold that. There you go. Do it again. With the certificate. Okay. Now, we need you to get that back before he leaves because we have to have them signed so they can't take them in. Maybe I'll just make that announcement.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make a quick announcement. The certificates. Oh, she figured it out. Never mind.
Perfect. I'm going to pass it over to our teacher, Miss Lovejoy, who's going to congratulate Callum Locke.
It has been wonderful welcoming Callum to kindergarten this year. I have the honor of nominating him
for the character trait of kindness. This sweet boy is always thinking about how others are feeling. He is kind in both his words and his actions. He has a smile to brighten everyone's day. Callum has a huge heart and often goes out of his way to show his concern for others. He is a problem solver and is always willing to collaborate and share his ideas and materials with anyone who might need them. I am so happy that he is a part of our Clayton community. Thank you, Callum, for being so kind.
Congrats, Callum. All right, Callum. We're going to take a picture of Miss Halsey. Okay.
Can you hold it? Can you hold it?
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure, if I can have Braden Eck, who is in Miss Reyes's class, come on up. Perfect. Hi, Braden. Braden Eck represents kindness each day. His teacher says he is nice to all his peers, is helpful, considerate, empathetic, and a good listener when others are speaking. Congrats, Braden.
Congratulations.
Right, stay here. We're going to take a picture. Yeah, get in there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, ready? 1, 2.
Good job, Callum. Braden. All right, next I'm going to have Ava Wigton come up. Yeah, Ava. Come stand over here for me, Brenda. Ava is also in Miss Reyes's class, and her teacher says Ava Wigton represents kindness each day. She is welcoming, inclusive, which means she's including everybody, and she treats others with kindness and respect on the yard and in classroom. Congratulations, Ava.
Congratulations.
Hold it first. We're going to take pics.
Hold it so your dad can take a picture. Smile for Dad first.
Ava, look at Miss.
One more picture.
Ava, you know to smile.
Yeah. All right, Ava, now we can. Okay. We're requiring some more signatures on those. All right, if we have Julian Rustia here. Hi, Julian. All right, Julian's teacher, Miss Hopkins, who's in 2nd grade, said he always comes to school with a big smile and is willing to play and talk with everyone. He always shows concern and offers to help when someone is hurt or sad. Julian is a great role model for kindness. Congratulations, Julian. All right, Miss Halsey's coming over, and your mom. You can take pics.
Okay.
I know. I was like, oh, professional. All right, we got it. Congrats, Julian. We'll give it back to you, okay? Oh, I don't know if Natalie Price's family came. Oh, yay. Mom gets to take it. Come on up, Natalie. Natalie is currently on camp for 5th grade. She is away in Santa Cruz. She is getting recognized by her teacher, Miss Cheska. Natalie is a student who always has a smile on her face. She is welcoming to everyone in our classroom. If she sees a classmate needs help with something, she does not hesitate to lend a hand. Natalie will work with any student in the classroom. She will jump into any game on the recess yard, and she can be relied upon as a kind friend to someone in need. Natalie exemplifies kindness and is a little bit of sunshine that all that interact with her. Thank you. Oh.
It's your choice.
There you go. And then, I don't know if I have. Oh, yes. And then I have Melina Panga. Is she here? Yay, Melina. All right, Miss Baker, her 4th grade teacher says, I will nominate Melina Panga as a 4th grade nominee. She is the epitome of kindness. She has a smile for everyone and is always ready and willing to help whenever needed. Her quiet and gentle nature makes her so approachable and well-liked by all. Congratulations. Oh, look at Dad.
Can you hold up the certificate? Well done.
Congrats. Do you need it back? Hold on, we need signatures. Here we got Izzy. Is Izzy Brushka here? Izzy here? Hey, come on up here, Izzy. Hi. Izzy was nominated by her teacher, Miss Vail. She said Izzy has an ability to take others' feelings into account in a kind and supportive way. She creates an encouraging environment whenever she partners with other students. Her smile is always true and warm. The interactions she has with her peers fosters a sense of belonging. I truly enjoy having Izzy in class every day. Well done. Congratulations. All right. Come
One
some
more.
more.
Oh, some more. Okay. Oh, wait, we got her.
Yeah. Yeah, congrats. Oh, do we need it back?
Did you get Miss Halsey? Okay.
Okay, we're good. Oh. All right, we have next is Bradley Hoppy. Is Bradley here? Bradley's here. Miss Halsey, I'm going to pass it to her.
Hi, I am Michelle Housey, and I teach third grade, and this is my student, Bradley Hoppy, that I have nominated for the Kindness Award. Bradley is incredibly deserving of this award. He is kind to everyone he meets. He's friendly, and even though he can be shy, he welcomes anyone with a smile. He will look you in the eye and say good morning, and at the end of the day, will want to give you a hug to say goodbye. He brings a positive attitude to our classroom, never pushes to be first in line. Instead, he will step aside and say, you go ahead. If someone needs something, he's willing to help or share a material. He's polite, courteous, and inclusive. Thank you, Bradley, for being so sweet, and you're a great recipient for this award. Yeah?
Oh, I was like, what are we doing?
Taking a pic.
Okay.
All right. Get in here, Bradley.
Congratulations. And we'll get this to your teacher. And
And then we have Riley Soul. Riley is here. Yay. Come on up, Riley. Ooh, in her Buffalo Bills shirt. Riley was nominated actually by our garden teacher, Miss Cactus Kelly. She is in third grade in Miss Griswold's class. And Cactus Kelly said Riley is always kind and considerate. She often helps in our garden class with dishes, moving items, setting up, cleaning up, and helping her peers. Riley often asks others if they need help and is always willing to lend a hand. She goes above and beyond to be kind to others, including myself. Congratulations. All right, I got to smile at Miss Housey.
we'll get that one. Okay, and then do you have any others? That's it? Thank you so much, Vice Principal Romo. Okay, next up is Principal there she is. Principal Wilson, please come up. And then I believe we have 3 students who exhibited kindness at Diablo View Middle School. I will pass this to you.
Good evening, everybody. I get the distinct pleasure of being the principal at Diablo View Middle School. My name is Miss Wilson. I have 3 amazing students to honor tonight. First up is Ellie Janello. She was nominated by Miss Krupa. Miss Krupa says, I have the pleasure of having Ellie in both my science and reading class this year. When kindness came to mind, she was the very first person that I thought of. She is always smiling from ear to ear and is kind to not only her peers, but to staff as well. Ellie brings kindness to every partner she works with in class. I have personally witnessed her ask a classmate who didn't have a group to come over and work with her group. She is always so grateful, thankful, and kind each and every day in class, and constantly saying thank you to me. So today, I would like to say thank you, Ellie, for making the world just a little bit brighter with your kindness. Congratulations.
Oh, we need a photo too. Okay. Thank you.
Next up, I have Jaden Ang. Jaden was nominated by Miss Andrade, and she says, I truly admire Jaden for how kind he is. This quality has been constant for Jaden since 6th grade. Like kindness is weaved into his genetic makeup. His spirit is a shining example and model of what it means to be kind and compassionate. He quietly observes, and in doing so, he is there to help with any need that someone might have. Push in a chair, pick up a pencil, get supplies, and he always does it with a smile. While Jaden may speak softly and calmly, his kindness speaks for itself. Thank you, Jaden, for always showing us what kindness can look like. Congratulations, buddy. I know Mom wants to get a picture. And we're going to get that signed. And my third student is Victoria Rice. Victoria was nominated by Miss Pelosi, and she says, I nominated Victoria because she always has a smile on her face. I also see her treating her classmates with respect and kindness always. She is friendly and outgoing and shows genuine concern for those around her. I truly appreciate having Victoria in class and what she brings to it always. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Victoria.
Thank you again, Mount Diablo Elementary School teachers and vice principal, as well as Diablo View Middle School students, teachers, and principal. We're going to see you guys back here again in March when we do this again. And thank you all for exhibiting kindness for the last 2 months in November and December. It's nice to see that this is continuing on since our former mayor, Hank Stratford, started it, and that the schools are still embracing this. And it's great to see you all back here in person in chambers doing this. We were doing it on Zoom, and we had stopped for a bit, but seeing this chamber filled with all these smiling faces is a treat for all of us. You are welcome to stay for our exciting meeting. But I will say we do have our next agenda item is to honor some of our police officers. So I would ask if you wouldn't mind staying for that until that is done. I think that'd be great and they would appreciate that. And I will turn it back over to our mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Tillman, and thank you all in attendance. So we are going to go to item 5B now, and this is a certificate of recognition for saving a life being awarded to Officer Wiggins and Sergeant Ania. And this will be presented by our interim police chief, Don Mort. Take it away, Don.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's a pleasure to be back in front of you again tonight. Seems like it was just yesterday, but as I said 2 weeks ago, you got an exceptional department. And this makes me proud to be here tonight to award 2 of them for a life-saving effort that they did back on January 5th. It's rare that we get these opportunities. It's stellar work on their part and truly showed what it is to preserve life and property here in the city of Clayton. Give you the details on it. On January 5th at approximately 12:45 in the afternoon, the 2 officers, Officer Wiggins, Sergeant Ania, responded to a medical call on Clayton Road and Mitchell Canyon Road. The husband of the female driver reported that his wife had stopped breathing. And on arrival, Officer Wiggins located the female driver, found in fact she wasn't breathing and didn't have a pulse. Sergeant Nia arrived shortly thereafter, and the 2 of them removed her from the car and started medical treatment with CPR compressions to try to get the driver back to life. They arrived prior to Consolidated Fire. That's how quick they were on the scene. Consolidated Fire eventually came and were able to take over the CPR efforts and revive the woman, and were able to get a pulse back on that subject. They made comments afterwards that certainly if it wasn't for the officers doing what they did, good likelihood this woman would not have been alive today. 2 days after the event, Sergeant Nia followed up, and the woman was alive, didn't recall the details. She was still at John Muir Hospital, and the prognosis was good that she was going to continue her life. So it's a great pleasure that I bring this to your attention tonight. I think the two of them are exceptional people. I think they did a fantastic job, and it makes me proud to be honored to give them a certificate of appreciation for what they did that day. And I'll read it really quick. Officer Kelsey Wiggins for exceptional bravery and quick action on January 5th, 2025, resulted in the saving of a life. Your bravery, quick thinking, and unwavering dedication to duty exemplified the highest standards of public service. I can't agree more. So with that, where are you guys at? Come on up there.
And also, if either of you would like to say something, please do. Do we want a picture with the council as well, Sergeant Hania? Yeah, let's come on up. We'll do a picture, and then if you'd like to say a few words, please, both of you.
I just want to thank everybody for your guys' support, all the officers that have come to support Officer Wiggins and I. It's just about being in the right time at the right place. When this came out, we were a block away, but it happened to be we were both going to calls on the other side of town when we were walking out to our patrol cars, so it would have definitely taken us a long time to get there. We're very lucky to have the CFD so close to us. Those guys do an amazing job, as did AMR. Officer Wiggins here is the real hero. I got there, she was directing me as her sergeant on what to do. And you know what, sometimes things work out, and I'm very, very proud of Officer Wiggins and very happy of the support of the community that you guys showed to us. And again, to my coworkers that are here, we take great pride in our response time to any calls that we go to, and we've always been proud of that, and we're going to continue to deliver that kind of service. So. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Clayton Police Force. We appreciate it. And again, you are all welcome to stay as we continue our agenda, but if not, we understand. Okay. Now we're going to get back to the regular order of our agenda. And we're on item number 3, which is public comment on non-agenda items. And I do have one card here by Mr. Killeran. Mr. Killeran, would you join us at the podium? And turn the, there you go, microphone on.
Right. Good day. I'm here today to talk to the council about our city's need for a sidewalk safety repair program. During the last summer, our neighborhood street gutter exploded in front of our house. I want to thank the city staff's cooperation in working with us. The city, as it does not have a sidewalk repair program, generally left it on me to define the root cause of the unusual street gutter explosion and to find a contractor that would perform the required work. To determine the root cause of this thermal shock event in the street gutter, I worked with the Contra Costa Water District, the Sanitary Sewer District, and PG&E. We confirmed the distressed street gutter was not caused by moisture, tree roots, improper fill or compaction, or pipe movement breakage of underground water, sewer, and electrical pipes. The primary cause of the shattered gutter was long-term impairment to the street asphalt right above our gutter. The city of Clayton has no concrete asphalt firms to recommend, so this required me to find a qualified contractor. In total, I contacted 15 contractors, with several of the companies being prevailing wage firms. Only 3 contractors submitted bids, with 1 being prevailing wage. In addition, the city engineer received a ridiculously high bid from a prevailing wage firm. Most concrete contractors do not want to perform city-inspected sidewalk repairs. Non-prevailing wage firms indicate to me they pay high concrete pour rates on short truck loads. The 2 licensed non-prevailing wage firm bids were eventually disqualified due to the failure to meet performance expectations. The winning firm was a prevailing wage contractor who currently performs the City of Concord's sidewalk safety repair program. The companies at present agreed to provide me the same rates that they provide to the citizens of Concord, which happens to be lower than the other bids I received from the non-prevailing wage firms. All the prevailing wage contractors recommend our city implement a sidewalk repair program to get the best rates for our citizens. The city would be annually responsible for code enforcement and informing homeowners for responsible repairs. Work will be done once or twice a year, i.e. a sweep, under a master contract with set rates to homeowners. Clayton should explore joining the City Concord's sidewalk repair program to attain scales of economy and overall spend. Cities need robust sidewalk repair programs to ensure public safety, since failure to enforce could lead to substantial legal settlements for injuries and failing to meet ADA requirements. In 2024, the City of Long Beach's negligence to public safety led to two settlements totaling $18 million for separate injuries suffered while walking on distressed streets and sidewalks that are similarly found in Clayton. Just want to let this council know with the final 18 seconds here, I am available to talk. You're more than welcome to visit my street and my home. And I do think it's a very important thing. And the other thing here, if you adopt the City of Concord, and I spent many time with folks, it is revenue neutral. It doesn't cost the city anything. So it's the way to go. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Killeran. And is there anyone else in the chambers that would like to speak on non-agenda items this evening? No? Okay, thank you. I will close public comment on non-agenda items, and we'll move to item number 4, which is our consent calendar. We've got 2 items on there. The first is our minutes and also the execution of the noise abatement agreement. Does anybody want to pull anything on the consent calendar? I would like to pull something on the consent calendar. The noise abatement agreement is missing some information. And City Manager, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, excuse me, during the editing process, the copy you have has a couple of mistakes in it that weren't reviewed correctly. And so we'd like to pull that item and bring it back at the next meeting so that we get it clarified and corrected for the residents and for Oakhurst.
Correct, and that includes Diablo Village, hole number 1. Yes, okay. Okay, so we're going to pull that item. Otherwise, are we making a motion to approve the consent calendar without item B?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll make that motion to approve our consent calendar.
Point of order. We need to take public comment first.
Oh, yeah, right. Is there any public comment? Thank you. On the consent calendar? No? Okay, I will close public comment and bring it back. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve item 4, the consent calendar, item A.
Okay. Do I
I'll
have a
second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Thank you. And on that motion, Councilmember Diaz,
Yes.
Ania,
Yes.
Tillman,
Aye.
Mayor Tripiano.
Yes.
Thank you. And for the record, Vice Mayor Juan is absent today.
Okay. We have already covered item number 5. We're going to move on to item number 6, which is reports. City Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Loftus.
Few items that are coming up. Attended a meeting 2 weeks ago, and our speaker was Contra Costa Fire, talking about mapping and what the state is doing with fire mapping throughout the state. Nothing is finalized yet, but it should happen in the very near future. This is done solely by the state. This is not in conjunction with Contra Costa Fire or other municipal fire departments. Once it's completed, the chief has agreed to come and do presentations at the city. So once we have a final map, we will bring him in so he can describe and discuss, and you'll be able to ask questions about how this came to be and what the effects moving forward could be for the community. Had a meeting with East Bay Regional Parks a week ago. There's some future projects happening that we are discussing with them that will be a benefit to Clayton, and we will be bringing more information as it is available, but I'll just give you that teaser right now. There have been questions from the public about the housing element. We are still proceeding. We're still in process. Our community development director, our interim community development director, myself, and our consultant will be meeting with HCD tomorrow to see if we can get that final hurdle and we can get a final agreement to wrap this up. So we are still working on it and we are still making progress. Just a reminder, Planning Commission, we have a vacancy. The information is online and we will be pushing that out through social media as well. But if anybody's interested in becoming a planning commissioner, please look for the documents on our website and apply, and we would love to have you. And in closing, our next council meeting will be on February the 4th. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. And the City Council committee assignments, we did have some adjustments to that, but they are included, they're correct in our online, in our agenda packet. And are there any public comments on reports? No? Then I will close public comment. And item number 7 is public hearings. We do not have any. We'll move on to item number 8, which is action items. And the first is adopt a resolution authorizing the revised job descriptions for the positions as listed. They are admin clerk, part-time community services leader, full-time management analyst, senior planner, and community development technician. And we're going to talk about pay schedules and cost for fiscal year 2024-25 and 2025-2026. And I believe this is our Assistant City Manager, Regina Rubio.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council members. Good evening, community. Tonight, we are going to bring a mid-year staffing adjustment report to you. Let's see. Steph, it says that I'm sharing. Not again. Right. There we go. All right, now we're in action. So the purpose tonight, we're going to discuss a revision to 2 job specifications. We're going to add 3 new job specifications. We're removing 2 current job specifications from the general fund budget to free up some money. And then we're going to be revising the fiscal year 24-25 salary schedule. This was brought to the Budget and Audit Committee meeting last week, and they have recommended this approval. So a little bit of background information. Your current budget includes an administrative assistant position, an associate planner, a community development director, and a part-time facilities attendant. The administrative assistant job specification is from the 1990s. There is a management analyst position that was put in the org chart but left unfunded. And most positions will remain relatively neutral, and if approved, the full-time equivalent for fiscal year 24-25 employees' revised budget will be 27.6. That 0.6 is that part-time facilities attendant. This is what the current org chart looks like for the budget. And as you can see, that gray box is that analyst position. We gathered data from local communities here in Contra Costa County. We tried to keep the population relatively close, and with annual budgets and full-time equivalent employees. And as you can see, Clayton is far less with population, budget dollars, and full-time equivalents. So the other thing is, we also confirmed that when we looked at these job descriptions, that 80% of the work that the employee was going to do was similar work to the other agency, so to make sure we were comparing the apples to apples, if you will. So what we're proposing is that we're going to change the job title from administrative assistant to administrative clerk, change the job title from a recreation leader to a community services leader. We would like to add a community development technician job. We would like to add a management analyst position and add a senior planner. And with adding the senior planner, we're also recommending that we would remove a community development director and remove the associate planner out of the current budget. So what these people will do, the administrative clerk will be your front counter person, if you will, answer phone, provide excellent customer service, direct people to the right departments, being the liaison, if you will, organizing, maintaining appointments, assist the city clerk with the preparation of documents, city agendas, etc., maintaining files, both electronic and paper files. They would accept payments for walk-in traffic, and just offer administrative support to various departmental staff. The community services leader position, this is the position that would go around and open up the facilities for rentals, whether it's Endeavor Hall, Hoyer Hall, on the weekends, if it was a park that was being rented out, making sure that the park was clean, ready for the rental to come in, and once they are done with the facility, they would go and clean up and make sure that it was ready to go for the next renter, if you will. They would also assist with special events, including concerts, car shows, and any other type of recreational type positions like that. The senior planner would perform an advanced professional work related to a variety of planning assignments. They would manage the complex studies, development application, plan reviews. They would provide professional planning assistance. They would evaluate the development standards in land use and zoning, and perform high-level community development planning type tasks. The management analyst position would support human resources in the areas of workers' compensation, recruitment, evaluations, training, contract management. They would have a little bit of finance background as well, with contract management, financial tracking, and manage functions of IT, and assist the assistant city manager and the city manager with possible grants. And they would provide a high level of support to the assistant city manager, city clerk, and the accountant. And they would compile data and assist in developing recommendations on city policy. The community development technician job duties would also be a front counter type of a position. They would be able to handle people as they come in, if they were complaining about violation of city codes or ordinances. They would help with permits. They would respond to inquiries about code enforcement type issues. They would prepare public notices, whether for the community development department or the code enforcement side. They would work very closely with the police department on code compliance issues, and they would be responsible for issuing a variety of permits, including the temporary use permit and park and facility rentals. So here's where we get down to the nuts and bolts on the money. As public agencies budget, we always budget at the top step of the base salary. That is because that's the budget. That's not what the employee makes, but that's what we budget. Because once we budget that number, there's no possible way for that employee to go over that budget. The same with benefit costs. Benefit costs in a public agency are very complex. It's based on the years of service. It's based on what, how old was that individual? How old were they when they came into the CalPERS system? Did that person come in before 2013? Did they come in after 2013? Are they a classic employee? Are they a PEPRA employee? There's lots of things to factor in there. Also medical, we have to factor in that every employee, probably not going to happen. The probability is lower, but we have to factor in that when an employee comes in, they're married, they have children, and so we have to factor that whole entire family benefit cost. That's why the benefit cost is $36,000 down the board, because it is just an estimate. It's not what each position is, but that's an average estimate for all positions. So with that, we've taken the top base salary, we've taken the average benefit cost, we've calculated it out for fiscal year 24, and we've calculated it out for fiscal year 24-25, and then again for fiscal year 25-26. And by adding these 5 positions, your net effect is that you are gaining 1 position for next fiscal year at a cost of $72,267. Should I stop there? Do we have any questions, or do you want me to keep going? Because I know that's where the meat and potatoes really are.
Does anybody have any questions at this point?
Or do we?
Several, I'll wait.
Okay.
Councilmember Tillman, do you want to go first?
Yes, just on that line of the benefits piece. Are any of those positions that are listed up there part-time, and do part-time employees receive full benefits?
There is 1 position that is listed as part-time, and they do not receive the benefits.
Okay.
And that is noted in there.
Okay, good.
It would be under the
Services
community
leader.
services leader.
And then for the maintenance 1,
We
Why?
currently do not have any maintenance 1 positions.
but why wouldn't we give them benefits if we did? I guess I'm trying to understand what that is.
We don't have anyone in that title, so there is no money. We would have to add a new position to our complement in order to have that maintenance 1 person there. So our complement would then change from 27.6 to 28.6.
Okay, we just have them listed.
We have it listed, we have the position as a position we can choose from, but we don't have that position budgeted.
Okay.
There's no staff. There's
There's
no
no-
maintenance ones.
There are no maintenance ones on staff.
And we have no intention of hiring one?
Correct.
Thanks.
Okay. Councilmember Diaz?
I assume that this has been through the Budget and Audit Committee.
That is correct.
Has it been through, or have we seen any report from our Community Financial Sustainability Committee?
We have not received any feedback from that
Because I would like to see
committee.
something on there, because they were chartered to take a look at our revenues and our expenses. And we still don't have that. And it's like we don't have a full, complete picture.
Okay.
Okay, that's one thing. and I'm sort of a simple guy. We started out, we had 2 vacancies, the community development director and the associate planner, correct?
Yes,
We haven't filled those.
correct.
And you're proposing how many more?
I'm proposing.
Total.
I am proposing one additional person throughout the entire city, but I'm also proposing that we take those 2 community development positions that you're referring to and remove them from our complement.
Okay,
So
good.
basically, it will be a net, if we're talking, that would be, we're subtracting positions as well. Not only are we adding positions, we're subtracting positions.
So we're going to end up with a net loss?
We're going to end up with a net gain of 1 person.
Okay. Community development
Correct?
strikes me, we have very little left to be developed, unless I'm missing something. There's a couple of projects in the hopper right now, and they are moving forward, I'm assuming. And so it's never, at this point, warranted a community development director to oversee it. Most of them were put into place and moved along prior to the loss of our community development director. So I'm still not comfortable, even though you're saying we're combining some positions and we only end up with a net gain of 1. Is that correct?
So, yes, Councilmember Diaz, so we concur with your statement on community development. That's why we're recommending that we remove the community development director and replace them with a lesser position of the senior planner, which is also a cost savings to the city.
Currently in development services, you have budgeted 2 positions, an
Yes.
associate planner
Correct.
and a director. We don't want to fill those 2 positions. We want to convert those into 1 senior planner because that fulfills the need, just as you described, for the amount of work that we're doing.
Okay.
So,
And what's projected out there?
right. And so the cost savings from those 2 positions would help fund the additional asks that we have today. And some of them, the technician who will be doing the permitting process and code enforcement will be doing that on a full-time basis. Currently, with 4-leaf, we're doing that 2 days a week. So we're making some adjustments there financially, and that's why with the conversion of the positions, it's a minimal cost with gaining 1 employee.
Okay, because that's one thing I am curious about is presently, code enforcement is on a contractual basis.
Correct. And once we hire the technician, we will not have that contract any longer. The technician will be doing code and the permit process, so they'll be doing both of those jobs.
Okay. But still, bottom line is only 1 additional body.
That is correct.
And what's the financial impact of all that?
Next year, it'll be about $72,000.
That's what you mentioned.
And that is at the top of, that is the maximum amount. So if we save in benefits or we hire someone at below top step, that number will shrink. That's the maximum number.
72,000 additional 1. And you're minimizing the benefits by the salary establishment, the number that you put in for that.
Right, so yeah, that is the max number that we'd be looking
Yeah.
at. So, we anticipate that number actually being lower because benefit package might be smaller. And like I said, that's at top step. They may come in at bottom step or mid step, so there's some fluctuation there with the cost.
Okay. I'll probably have more in.
Well, and the other thing is too, is that we're anticipating these positions to start hopefully by April 1st. Oh, now it's May 1st? Okay. April 1st might be pushing it. Okay. But there is
Definitely by May
a
1st.
modicum of savings, even in this fiscal budget.
Correct.
We were looking at like $27,000 and
Correct.
change. And so, if by the time we post, recruit, and go through the
Background
process.
check, all of those things. They give their current agency a 2-week notice. That's,
The other thing I want to just say to Councilmember Diaz's point about the Financial Sustainability Committee, 2 of the 3 members were at the last Budget and Audit Committee meeting, because this is, and I think they've been coming to all the Budget and Audit Committee meetings. They've asked some great questions, they've provided some great feedback, and so they have had input into this process.
But the bottom line is, we've not seen a report from them.
Well, you're talking about a report, asking them to report out on their committee in general?
No, the financial state of the city. How much revenue do we project that we're going to have, and what's our expense level going to be?
Right.
I would be more comfortable if I could see some numbers from those three credentialed professionals.
Right. Well, we are going to have a mid-year review, correct?
Correct.
In February, at the next Budget and Audit Committee meeting, and then bring that back to the council. But you've done this analysis, Regina, right?
I have done this analysis.
Yeah.
So our next steps, if the council was to elect to move forward with this, is to have the city recruit for the positions, go through the interview process for positions, and have City Hall at full staffing complement, hopefully by May 1st. So the recommendation this evening is to adopt there are two resolutions before you tonight. For the revised job specifications to update the city's classification and compensation plan, the city's official position list, and update the city's master pay schedule.
Okay. Councilmember Tillman?
I just have one more clarifying question on that proposed positions budget page.
That page?
Yeah,
Councilmember?
yes, I can
Yes.
see it clearly on my printout. I cannot see that. Back to the community services leader
Correct.
piece with the base salary of $37,274. What's the $45,799 that's across from that?
That's what is currently budgeted in this year's budget under a facilities attendant.
Okay, thank you. This is facilities.
And to piggyback on the community services leader, that position only works when needed. So if we have events, if we have rentals, that's when they work. If there's nothing happening, if we have 2 weeks without rentals and we don't have any community events, they don't work, so that saves budget. The other piece of it, when we have rentals, we will be recommending that that cost of that person for those rentals be built into the cost so that the renter is paying the salary of that person to be their attendant, which is common in most cities when they have rental facilities. So that number should actually drop even further.
Great, thank you. And then I have one more question. It is on the community services leader job description. Who is the community services coordinator? It reads, under general direction of the community services coordinator, the community services leader performs a wide variety of support.
That is actually a typo. That should have been removed.
Okay.
That would be changed to assistant city manager.
Okay,
That was from a previous, I'm sorry, I missed that.
okay.
Any other questions?
I don't think so. I'm thumbing through. I think those were my main ones.
Councilmember
No,
Haney?
I thought it's very well presented. I read it 3 different times.
Yes.
You know, it all came to the same conclusion. It'll be nice to have permanent city employees. and not
Permanent,
have-
yes.
Permanent city employees and not have to contract out anymore.
And also, after we've been vetting this back and forth for months, this is, I think, truly the support that our city leadership team needs and has needed for some time, and it's right-sized. And Councilmember Diaz, did you want to add something?
Of course.
Go ahead.
I guess I agree with the fact that we want to have permanent employees. However, when I and the city manager talked about this months ago, we thought there would be some room for a temporary employee, so we wouldn't be committed to long-term PERS, budget, benefits, and so forth. But if you're only telling me that's a net add of 1, I may reconsider that. Back to the Community Financial Sustainability Committee. At one of our city events, I was talking to the chairman, and he's had a challenge to set up a meeting. I don't know what's going on there. He came to me and I told him, you want me to help you get the meeting established? Let me know and I'll come down to City Hall and we'll do it.
Yes, we're in conversations. We're trying to hold that meeting the first week of February.
I would just feel a lot more comfortable having those 3 credentialed professionals look at our revenue and our expenses so we can project out what fiscal responsibility and shape we are going to be in order to make sure we can maintain the $72,000. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I do feel like our assistant city manager has done that already, but is there?
Yep, the only other thing I wanted to say is, well, 2 things. One, ask the city manager, with these changes, because we know that you guys need them, are there any other ones that we're not thinking about that you guys want to share? I know it's not in this packet, but do you think we're good for now?
This would be amazing.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Okay.
You know, Stephanie, Regina, and myself have had multiple conversations and various iterations of what this could look like, and I think this complements the work we are currently doing. In the future, I don't know.
Okay.
But we wanted to be very cognizant and very conservative with the ask and not come in asking for the moon. This is a bare bones ask to get the work done, and that is what we're looking for. So at this time, I think it's appropriate. You know, in 2 years from now, I don't know where we'll be.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And then the only other thing that I wanted to add is that that it was my understanding, and I'm asking staff to correct me if I'm incorrect, is that the Financial Sustainability Committee was going to be doing their work off on their own, but that doesn't stop staff from doing what they're tasked to do, which is what we hired you guys to do, which is to oversee our finances, et cetera, and give recommendations. They're looking at the health and trying to make possible recommendations, et cetera, but their job is not to do your job. So I just wanted to be clear, like, that is literally your role.
That's my understanding, Councilmember Tillman. It's my understanding that the Financial Sustainability Committee is there to look from a large holistic approach on the overall health of the city and what long-term items can the city do investments-wise. And we are bringing something back to the council next month for UBS and our investment policy. Those types of things are what the financial sustainability is. That's their task.
Right.
Not the day-to-day operations of the city.
Right, and I know that we had 2 forecasts from prior city managers, so we've done 5-year forecasting, et cetera. And so I just wanted to make sure that that was clear on what the roles were. Okay.
Okay. At this time, I'll open it up to public comment. And Ms. Kindorf, you have 3 minutes. Sorry, it's so cold in here.
Okay. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, so I just took some notes. I believe I've spoken on this before, but what we are seeing is yet another repercussion of the revolving door at City Hall, and what I want to be sure of is we don't continue that. And right now we are looking at a skeleton staff who is working their tushies off. Did I just say that? But they're working hard. And if we continue to overwork people, we're going to have the same problem we've had for a long time. The contract employees that are necessary to support the skeleton staff, I think we know they're expensive, and that's not letting the staff get rolling. It's not giving them respect of saying, we support you, we want you to be able to do your best and not completely burn yourself out. So, and the staff has worked very hard. I've seen various iterations myself of this. I've seen requests, I've seen them come back again. And I just think if we hire professional staff to be the professionals in managing the city, we truly need to respect them and respect their skills and get this rolling so we don't send them screaming from the building. So thank you to the staff very much. We really appreciate you. And I personally am hoping you get what you need to do the best we know you can do. And not that you're not, but it's hard.
Thank you, Ms. Kindorf. Anybody else want to speak on this item? Mr. Kelleran?
Thank you. I was not planning to speak, but I did hear the council members and our new city manager speak, and we've had a lot of turnover. And I think, one thing I want to say to you is that it would be good. I think, you're trying to optimize positions, rotate where the needs are, and that's going to have to continue at this city. But I also want to point out what Jim has said here, is that it would be valuable to have a long-term view of how our financial stability is going to be for the city. And so it is a conflict. And I think my only advice to the council is, and from hearing everybody's thing, is that it's going to continue to evolve. And if we find that we don't have financial stability, we're going to have to make changes. And so, again, that's always in your tool chest, is that you'll need to optimize and maybe drop positions or further optimization. And so, again, but Jim is right. You really do need to have that long-term view, and hopefully it is difficult because of the Brown Act to get that long-term view, but it is important to have, and so there can be good discussions on that. So, again, thanks to the city staff. I know you're working very hard. And Jim, thanks for raising that point.
Thank you, Mr. Kelleran. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close public comment on this and bring it back to the council. Any other final comments before we vote? Take a motion. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve action item 8A, and adopt the resolution authorizing the revised job descriptions for the full-time administrative clerk, the part-time community service leader, and approving the additions of a full-time management analyst and a senior planner and community development technician, and a resolution approving publicly available the pay scale and for the full-time positions, administrative clerk, management analyst, senior planner, and community development technician, and part-time community services leader.
Wow, do I have a second?
That was a mouthful.
That was a mouthful.
I will second it with the fixing the community services leader
Yes.
job description. Can we just make that adjustment?
Okay. Let's do a vote.
And on the motion, amending the community services leader job description and approving the salary resolution and also the positions, Councilmember Diaz.
I'm still very concerned about the fact that the Community Financial Sustainability Committee has not met. In my view, and I'm giving a very limited support to this item, you're not going to do anything until May 1st. I would like to suggest that by April 1st, we have a Community Services or Financial Sustainability meeting. And if I need to come help and assist the chairman to open up the roadblock, so be it. Thank you.
Was that a yes?
Conditional.
Councilmember Ania.
Yes.
Tillman.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Juan is absent.
Yes.
And Mayor Turbiano. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, that passes. Thank you. And we will now go to item 8B, which is approved grant application for Mount Air Parkway bicycle lanes. And our city engineer, Larry Thies, is going to lead us into this discussion. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Appreciate the opportunity. This is an annual process. There is a Transportation Development Act, TDA, grant application process that's provided through MTC annually. The applications are typically due at the end of January, and this year it's January 30th. The projects that can be applied for this grant are typically pedestrian and bicycle related projects. City staff is recommending a Mount Air Parkway bike lanes project. We recognize that this project was discussed last year. Also recognize that this will be discussed further in more detail at a future meeting. But if the city would like to pursue getting, in this case, we're applying for $50,000 toward a project that would include bicycle lanes on Mount Air Parkway, which would also include removing a travel lane in each direction, that this would be a really good candidate. We've already had the project application reviewed by the Countywide Bicycle Advisory Committee, which is a requirement of the grant. They were generally very positive about the project, and you see their comments in the staff report. They recognize the local match is relatively high. The estimate in the grant application is $244,000. But that does include a contingency of 25%. The overall amount is more than what we expected last year. We had a discussion at the council back in May of, at that time, how to pursue our paving project going forward. That was a specific discussion. We decided that we did not want to go back to Caltrans local assistance to try to change the nature of the project at that time to change the lane configuration. So the paving project proceeded last October, and the road was restriped in its existing configuration with traffic paint as opposed to thermoplastic. Both are permanent, but paint does last a shorter duration than, say, thermoplastic. So we anticipate we'd have a further discussion of the different types of alternatives that could be pursued in different lane configurations. But what we've included in the application tonight is the staff recommended alternative, which includes removing one lane in each direction, keeping on-street parking, providing bike lanes that don't exist today, and having a center two-way left turning median, painted median, that would still allow cars who were turning into driveways to leave the through traffic lane to then queue to be able to make a left without impeding cars behind them. We feel that alternative that we include in the application is the least, is a balanced approach that doesn't have impacts of loss of on-street parking or the center turn median not being in it, and so you would have potentially more delays in the through movement. So we would like the council to consider the application as presented tonight. I did want to add a couple options that were suggested by the Bicycle Advisory Committee. If you would like to enhance the application, I do think it would make it more marketable or more likely to achieve a grant, but I don't believe you have to have these elements. So it truly is up to the council if they want to add one of two things or both. The simpler one would be a bike box, which is would be in the southbound direction approaching the swimming pool. Bicyclists who are leaving the bike lane to then continue on would have the opportunity to queue at the front of the lane. Provides a little additional safety so it's very clear to drivers that the bicyclist will be in the traffic lane as opposed to its own bike lane. Another element is a Class 4 separated bike lane on the segment leaving Marsh Creek Road to the first intersection of Mount Air Circle, the south intersection, the northern intersection, to provide a physically separated segment. It would be very short, but I think there are bicycle advocates who would like to see the introduction of separated bicycles facilities. So it could be that additional element could enhance for bicycle the reviewing committee for the grant. So those are two, and then the third element is currently the bike lanes. Between the travel lane and the bike lane, there is no buffer zone. Where you've seen in some other communities, they'll put some cross-hatch striping to create a generally 2 to 4 foot space where there's not supposed to be any vehicle, either a bike or an automobile, and what they call is a buffer zone. That could be achieved to a certain width if you shave off a little bit of the parking width, also maybe the center turn lane. So if that's an element that you'd like to add to the application, we could still do that. Getting your approval tonight on the resolution, I will then file the notice of exemption with the clerk of the board. That's a requirement as part of the application, and then finalize the application. So any of these elements I just discussed, if you'd like to make those changes, is what I would ask for your input. And then we would submit this to Contra Costa County by January 30th for then to be part of a review process. In the end of February typically is a field review. And then if it is recommended for some allocation of dollars, then there's sequential steps of going through the Board of Supervisors or the Mayor's Conference, the Board of Supervisors, and then MTC. All that being said, I recognize that this discussion about the alternatives will happen at the next meeting, and we've notified the HOA in Dana Hills that discussion will happen. I would recommend you approve the application to still have the opportunity. If you choose at a later meeting not to pursue this project, we can withdraw this, preferably early February before they start the review process would be ideal. However, you could always withdraw, and any of the dollars that the city was allocated would go back into the community pool of this grant and would be available for either another agency this cycle or potentially for the next year's cycle. So hopefully I address questions, and then happy to get your input and have the discussion about those optional elements, and then address any of your further questions on the application. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Any questions?
Yes, I do. Clarify for me, Larry. I understand the approval request has to be in by January 30th. That's so we make sure we're in line to get that funding. Why would we not do it? What would change our mind about the use of the money?
In my opinion, there's not too much downside of approving it tonight. I would say the only reason you would not approve the application is if you don't think you want to move forward with the project at all tonight. And I think that discussion is really meant for the next meeting. Ideally, it would have been right before this item. That was my intention, but I think that got moved. So the downsides essentially is, or potential downsides is some financial cost of me pursuing the application another couple weeks, but those are relatively nominal, I would imagine. Though there's a filing fee for the CEQA and these types of things, like $50. But so we're talking maybe a couple $1,000s here. Aside from that, you still have the opportunity to avail yourself of at least a $50,000 grant application. So I recommend the council approves it tonight to at least continue the option going forward.
I understand that, but further, assuming we would move forward with this project, there's been concern up there for a long time about the increased speed that is demonstrated coming down Mount Air Parkway. what would this, with these, is the bicycle lane going to be only on one side or both sides? And what would you do to, is it going to reduce 4 to 2?
So the current application took one of the alternatives that we looked at, the one we're recommending, and that alternative was to recommend one lane in each direction. So you'll remove, right now there's currently 2 lanes. And then with that additional space of losing 2 lanes, right, one in each direction, you'll use that width for putting a bike lane in each direction, have parking space still remaining, which is about 8.5 foot width, and put a center turn lane in, or essentially this, what we call a suicide lane, the two-way left turn lane that would be marked out. The intention or the concept behind it is that having the lane reduction would potentially decrease speeds. You are visually narrowing the road. Physically, the curb-to-curb locations are not changing. So I do think, to be honest, the most effective way is to physically narrow the road, but this also provides an opportunity to provide bicycle facilities. Now, I recognize probably the speed element is probably the most important thing for this project. The bicycle lanes may be secondary, but for this grant, it has to be a bicycle lane project. So just reducing without any bike lanes would not qualify for this grant. So I think it provides a combination of things that you can also potentially get additional funds outside of the city to help pay for a project that the city was considering last year.
One final question. Keller Ridge is 2 lanes, and there are, I don't know what you call them on both sides, but there are nubs that come out, which is basically an extension off of the curbing that reduces the chance of speeding down there. Is that under consideration here, or does the bike lane preclude that?
So of the alternatives that the council has not seen, I've put it in some of the newsletters, but those bulb outs, or there's different names for it, but let's call it bulb out for this case, are not considered as part of the alternatives. Part of it is parking. You lose parking on Keller Ridge. You also, I don't believe there's not a bike lane in that segment. So it's a shared shoulder that then gets, we've had, I believe, some complaints from bicyclists about, it's not continuous for the bicyclist. So we have not opted for that element in this particular case for Mount Terror Parkway. But that could be a discussion point, certainly at the future meeting.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, I'm looking at these diagrams that are in the agenda packet. Let me see which one. Segment 1, proposed layout. So it looks like the bike lane, just as you're turning onto Monterey Parkway, I know it's not technically a parking lane, but people do park there, I think, for the Children's Center. It looks in this diagram like that would be, so as you're heading into Dana Hills, that would be the bike lane entering Dana Hills. Is that right?
That is correct. You're looking at the second photo, or the photo on the bottom relative to segment 1 proposed layout. Is that correct?
I think we're saying the same thing.
Okay.
It says, oh, yes, I didn't see that there was another one. Yes, segment 1 is existing layout. I'm
Yes.
looking at proposed layout. Yes. What are those striped lines? Is that where cars are driving, or is that supposed to be your buffer zone between
That's
the
your
bike
buffer
and?
zone.
Okay, that's a buffer zone. Got it.
So in this particular layout, there would not be on-street parking. So
Okay.
just to be clear.
And then, as I can't see anything further up,
If you scroll to the next page, it would continue going further south.
thank you.
Yes.
Wait, nope, that must be the existing. I haven't gone far.
Yeah, the existing is
Okay.
usually on the
Got
top
it.
of the
Thank you.
slide.
Okay, and then those are your lanes for people to turn into their driveways. Wait a minute. nope, now I'm confused, sorry. So as I'm going up and I'm looking at segment 2A
Okay.
now, is that where I'm supposed to be looking?
Sure.
Where's my bike lane?
You're-
The 6, the one right in the middle, so the cars are parking at the 8.5,
Yes.
the 11-foot is where the cars are driving, and then the bike lane is in between those.
Yes.
Okay.
The graphic in the very lower bottom
Corner, I see
left
it now.
corner is a cross-section view.
Okay. And then in the other proposal, let me go up to that one now. I was trying to find what you were mentioning about the bicyclist move to the, what did you call it?
Bike box,
The, say it again?
a bicycle box.
Yes. Where is that? Is that in a diagram here?
No, it's not shown in the alternatives that are laid out.
Okay.
We included, I believe it's on, let me look at my packet. We included it on page 94 of the entire packet. The second to last page is an example that would be implemented
Okay,
going southbound on Mount Terra Parkway near the swimming pool.
okay.
And then the next page, just for everyone's knowledge, is the sample of a Class 4 facility where you have a physically separated bicycle lane. And that would be on that segment that we discussed at the beginning of segment 1A, where you're going from Marsh Creek Road to Mount Terra Circle, the first intersection.
But that doesn't continue all the way up?
No, it would not.
Okay, okay.
Because you would have driveways beyond
Yep.
that, and that makes it more difficult.
Got it. And then what was the change that's on the other side of the road? Now you have to scroll all the way back up to the diagrams. In terms of how the lane is, let me see. I think the only difference then, if I'm looking at segment 1, proposed layout, you mentioned, oh, the bike is in the middle. Okay, I see. The bike lane is in the middle, and then you can turn either right, left, or go straight. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ania, any questions?
No, this for tonight is just approving the grant because we haven't
Correct.
heard from the people of Dana Hills.
correct.
And I know some are very concerned about it. One of them would be the fire department because we're talking about fire wise and stuff. And there was a huge fire up there many years ago. People panic and they come right down Monterey Parkway and it was 4 lanes because that's how it was built. If it goes to 2 lanes, I can see the panic. And can I also see the fire department having to go on a single lane, start climbing that hill with all the water on their truck, trying to save a life. That's why I was opposed to Keller Ridge 25 years ago, along with the fire department. And of course, there's people up there now that want 4 lanes back. We spent a fortune in the city on putting in those 2 lanes, and those were no grants. Those were city expenses, because at the time, the council just did it. So I'm okay with just approving the grants. You know, these bicycle boxes and what you were talking about, some of these things don't apply to our town. Speed limit is 25 miles an hour. I've seen these on towns where it's 35 and 40 miles an hour. Concord Boulevard is one of them. People are confused on Concord Boulevard. It wouldn't happen here because ours is all residential. But if you go down Concord Boulevard near Landana, where Starbucks is just past the high school, and you're in the second lane, you either have to get over to the first lane or you have to turn on Landana. It's very confusing to people. And I don't want that for our town. I don't think we need that bicycle box. But if you want to include it to get the grant, that's you're the engineer.
As I mentioned earlier, I don't think it's necessary for you to include it as part of the application. It's completely your choice. I do think you may get some incremental increase in the probability of getting a grant, but I don't think it's necessary. So just to be clear, the elements that I mentioned about the Class 4 separated bicycle lane and the bike box, or even the buffered bike lanes, are not included in the application right now. So those are, I'm presenting it as just so you're aware if you'd like to have that option, especially since the County-wide Bicycle Advisory Committee included as a comment, but I don't believe it's necessary for this application to proceed.
Go ahead.
I just have one more question regarding the speed. Does it, if we were to receive this grant and move forward, does it change the speed limit on that street? Because what is it currently?
30.
30.
So currently it is 30. It will still be subject to speed surveys. It's possible, obviously, if the speed does lower, that you could potentially lower the speed. But based on the latest state laws that we had this discussion probably a year and a half ago, it's unlikely that you'll have to raise it any further. So you'd have to do a survey to lower it, but at this point, it's 30, and it shouldn't need to go up beyond that.
Okay.
You know, it's 30 because of the speed surveys right now. And the reason I think it's 30 is because there's 4 lanes now. That's the only argument that a person can make to make it 1 lane each way. Because when it's 2 lanes, you go faster, going up and coming down. But if it's 2 lanes and it has the bicycle markings and all that, chances are you're going to go 25 miles an hour. That's the only advantage. The only advantage in that area to reducing the lanes.
I agree.
Larry, just 2 questions. One, I did ask you in an email already, and thank you for answering that, but I just want to, my first question is the 244 includes those additional alternatives, the bike box and the, no, okay. And so we're at 244. I know that's gone up. Estimates have gone up since we looked at this last year. And I guess my only question was, because we're going to be out of pocket, right? Even if we get the entire 50, we're going to be out of pocket for the 194. And is that taking away that money? Was it earmarked for something else in the city? Something more high trafficked, something with more safety issues? And so do you mind just answering that? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's always a city's responsibility to figure out where they want to spend their dollars. Just for context, when we had this discussion back in May to where we were starting to initiate this potential project, clearly it wasn't approved, but we did include in the capital improvement plan a budgeted amount of about $120,000. I think it was all gas tax funds because this would be applicable. So since then, when we had that discussion, that was before we opened bids. We opened the bids in July. So I utilized the pricing we got from the July bids, which was still a pretty good bid. But when you take into account of the cost of the striping they bid and the resurfacing of the road, because you would not want to grind out the paint. It would look very poor. So it's better to just resurface with another slurry seal, even though you just did it, to then put down thermoplastic striping in the configuration you want. The price went up probably about 30% more than we initially expected. And then, like I said, we did add the contingency of 25% into the application. You know, hopefully you don't have to use that contingency. Ideally, the cost is as close to over 50 as possible, so you're minimizing the city dollars. The overall dollars, as I mentioned, are gas tax. So those are funds that typically are used for roadway projects. So whatever you're spending here, you're probably paving a little less someplace else on a different road, or potentially, you know, there can be sidewalk projects. Gas tax and Measure J funds are specifically earmarked, or they're restricted to road-related projects. So that's where you would be having your trade-off, those types of projects.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Do we have any public comment? Mr. Kelleran? Thank you, Larry.
Again, I did not plan to speak on this, but I always find interesting things at the council meeting. One of the things I can say to you in dealing with the contractors and getting my sidewalk replaced, we did talk about streets and asphalt because I had to get an asphalt footer, a long 14-foot asphalt footer, and that was very difficult to get. That was why 2 of the contractors failed on their bids. And so we did get talking about costs, and with our street and with other streets in Oakhurst, in our neighborhood in Keller Ridge, and then if you go to Peacock Creek, I can tell you I'm hearing from my posts on Nextdoor and Facebook, people private message me, how do we get our streets on the platform to get fixed? Because what's happening is when you do that overlay, the grind in the overlay is what I found out when we replaced our street. That grind, it is stronger. It's almost stronger than concrete. So it's very difficult for water to pour down to where the base rock is. And so that's kind of what happened with my situation is the water sticks there, and then it takes that top layer 3 to 4 inches of overlay when they do the overlay. So what's happening in many of the streets where you have these overlays, you're going to get big potholes. And that's something for you to understand. And this is from asphalt contractors who understand these streets very well. So one of the things I think what I would encourage the city is, I know Larry has done a great job in bringing in consultants to look at the review, but before you approve stuff, make sure this is where it fits into the priority, because I can say with our street on Raven Way, it's really deteriorating fast over the last year, and as I go up the streets, things I didn't even see, all of a sudden you're seeing potholes develop in the middle of the streets. And so then you get into a public safety issue. What happens when people ride their bikes or with these electric bikes, they hit it. So again, these are things that are going to be very difficult for the council to assess. So one of the things I would just say to you that would be good for transparency is to get some of these contractors in and to talk about the inflation that's happening with road work. It's substantial. One of the reports already, it's over 50% from pre-pandemic to where we're at right now. That means if you did 3 streets, now we can only do 2 streets. It's something that's hidden right now in our budget. So when we talk about, Jim, about the financial stability, the one thing that they have to talk about, Larry's given the report, what we're not going to be able to do in the future with streets. It's the number one issue in the city from a cost inflation thing. And so again, if you're looking at $1 million, now you need to spend 1.3 million, 1.4, or 1.5 to get that same more work done. So again, good questions on council. Where does this hit the priority? And if this doesn't have a high priority, I can tell you from talking to neighbors, there's a lot of streets out there that do have priorities. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Killeran. Anyone else? Ben? We know you by first name now. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Council, for just revisiting this issue. I know we talked about it last year. So Mount Terra Parkway, a couple points. This weekend was a perfect example of why a change to the street needs to be made. The speed is the number one issue. Girl Scouts are out and about, kids are out and about on the 3-day weekend. Crossing that street is incredibly dangerous. And it is the 2 lanes in each direction that makes the biggest difference. So if the only thing that happens is reducing it from 2 car travel lanes each direction to 1, the street will be much, much safer. Touching on some of the options, I would say the separated bike lane, impacting the pickup right there for the children's center, I think that would be probably an unpopular idea. And that little amount of bicycle safety is probably not that big of a deal. I would encourage considering a buffer zone between the bike lane and the travel lanes going up the street in the design phase when that comes about. The street lanes as they currently are basically highway width, so no one can be shocked that there's speeding going on. Reducing them to 11 feet, fine. They could be even narrower than that. Residential streets don't need to be that wide. That could give room for an extra buffer. As far as the bulb outs, I know I've heard about that on Keller Ridge before. I've seen some examples, Walnut Creek's got some, where just using the plastic reflectors and visually creating bulb outs with the reflectors, it slows down the cars. People are looking at that as it's an obstacle, it's different, it makes you think. If you're thinking as a driver, you're driving more safely. That's what we want. That's the most important thing to me. From the finance perspective, something that the city always needs to consider is the value of the properties. Streets that have safer travel, safer car traffic, the property values are going to be higher. That's important to the city. It's less important to me than the safety, but it should be important to the city. Also, from the finance perspective, the cost of repairing car travel lanes is a lot higher, I'm sure your engineer can talk about that, than bike lanes, than non-car travel lanes. So over time, as the city looks at all of future street repaving, anything that's happening with the streets, consider these things. If there's opportunities to remove travel lanes that are not needed, you will be saving the city money in the long term. You'll be creating a safer space. You'll be creating a, honestly, just more valuable city overall. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Anyone else? Okay, then I'm going to close public comment, bring it back to the council. Any other final comments? We are going to discuss this, obviously, in more detail in February, but this is really just to approve moving forward with the grant application. Any other comments? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the city engineer, rather, to move forward with this grant on the condition that we'll be bringing this back and have further discussion on it and flush it out fully. But I don't think that there's any reason for us to lose this opportunity. So that's my motion.
And Larry, just one quick question. Did you need specifics about what you want us to add or not add to the grant application?
Yes, if you want any of those elements I discussed about a buffer, the bike box, or the separated, this would be the opportunity because I will amend the application. Otherwise, you just need to approve the resolution that this application is part of, and then I take that resolution along with the CEQA notice of exemption and submit it to the county.
So I'm going to rescind my motion.
Yeah.
because so that we can keep talking about how we want to configure that.
The option, sorry. And I thought about that after we started the motion process. So do we want to discuss out of those 3 additional items what we want to include or not? What do you think? You want to start us off, Councilmember Tillman?
Yes, I don't think that it's necessary to have the enhancements. I do like, if I'm looking at these options, oh my gosh, these pages. And I have to scroll over to the side to see the whole thing too. Sorry. I like proposed layout segment 1. But I also am taking into consideration what Mr. Grover said about taking away that parking for the Children's Center at the bottom. If we don't have that there, what are options that we can have? So right now, the bike lane is right up against the curb. Then we have that 8-foot striped area, and then the 11-foot for the cars to go up the street. If we were to allow cars to still park there, how could we configure that section?
I would suggest that you remove the buffer zone, the cross-hatched area,
Okay.
make that the bike lane, and then have on-street parking remain.
Okay. So it would look like.
Remove the buffer zone.
This buffer zone would be gone, and that would become the bike lane, so that cars can still park here.
Still park.
Still park here, that's the bike lane, and then the cars going up the street would use the.
Fine.
So
section.
no buffer zone is up for discussion, bike box, and what was the third element? The
Class 4 separated segment in here, which I don't think you guys were pursuing because you have the concern about the parking. So what I hear, if I'm repeating back, is that I'll amend this application for this one segment on segment 1 proposed layout, the first layout sheet. We'll remove the buffer zone, put in bike lane, provide space for on-street parking, and then submit that as part of the application.
I think that sounds good. Do you want to revise that motion? Just what he said.
So I make a motion that we move forward with the grant application and submit segment 1 proposed layout by removing the bike lane, or not removing the bike lane, sorry, by replacing the buffer zone with the bike lane and allowing on-street parking there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay. Madam City Clerk?
And on that motion, Councilmember Diaz? Yes. Ania?
Yes.
Tillman?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Juan is excused. Mayor Trupiano?
Yes.
Thank you. You have 4 ayes.
Thank you. And that concludes item A. We'll move on to item 9, which is adjournment of the meeting at 8:42 p.m. Everybody go get warm. Thank you for attending. Good night.
Are you going to close the meeting in the memory of Dan D'Souza? Just
Oh, I think next meeting. Look, everybody's gone.